Hello, everyone, and welcome. We just recorded the Magma Rages episode yesterday, but we got some more news on four new cards that were revealed today. We weren't really expecting any more card reveals, but we've got four cards, so we didn't want to, delay for next episode. So we're just going to be bringing our first impressions on the cards. We'll keep these up as they keep revealing cards, if they do, before the expected reveals happening more towards the end of the month. So let's have a look at these four cards. So Dina Ayala had like a like a video? Was it like a design insights? Yeah,
Designer insights is what
yeah,
they call
design
it.
insights. It's the first time they've really done a designer insights like before a set's revealed, and revealing some cards in it. So it was an interesting way of doing it. And basically, he was talking about the whole odd and even cost cards. System we saw, like we spoke about it with Gen Greymane and Baku. uh, and so we've got these four class cards, and it looks like each class is going to have an odd and an even card for yeah. So each class is going to have two, basically one that wants your deck to only have odd cards, and one that wants your deck to only have even cards, and they all have some varying different effects. So let's get started with the priest one here, which is Glittermoth, aka Butterfree. This is a 5 mana 4/4 epic beast, and it reads Battle Cry. If your deck only has odd cost cards, double the health of your other minions. So first of all, I read this and I was like, wait, this isn't like this isn't like Keleseth, right? It's not like in your hand and your deck. I was like, I'm pretty sure this is just on the board for Glittermoth, right? And I mean, that's a pretty powerful effect. The big problem is
Yeah.
like the best decks that take advantage of that is like Combo Priest, right? And you kind of have to. That doesn't really work because you want Shadow Vision's Divine Spirit. I mean, those are
Yep.
two super key cards.
Radiant Elemental.
Yeah, Radiant Elemental. It's very difficult to make Glittermoth work in that kind of a scenario. Maybe it could work in some other deck where it plays within a fire still, possibly, or maybe just some kind of value priest that wants to trade on the board. Like as it is right now, a lot of priest's most powerful tools are in that even slot. Dustbreaker, if there's enough dragons to still support it. The Shadow Vision's Divine Spirit that we're talking about, Radiant Elemental. Um, Even the Death Knight, you couldn't play in the deck with this.
5 mana
Spiteful Summoner for the
uh,
Spiteful Priest, and yeah, okay, its stats are not that good, but doubling the health of a lot of your other minions, theoretically, you should be getting a decent amount of stats.
yeah.
Even if you play this with just two health minions on the board, you're essentially getting an extra four stats. So that's a 5 mana 4/8. That's still not amazing, but some of those stats do have charge, in the sense that they have initiative immediately on the board. But overall, I mean, Glittermoth, right? It's the odd cost card thing that really kills it for Priest for me until we see more cards to really make it work.
Yeah. I mean, what's it in the Design Insights video? They showed it obviously with Norshire Cleric and
Yeah.
Lyra is obviously sort of
Yeah.
the
Okay,
kind of
Lara.
ideal targets, if you will.
Sure.
Um, and then the fact that obviously what the odd cost deck is the one which has the upgraded hero power.
Yeah.
So therefore, the fact that you can heal, I mean, you can then go for like a board orientate, a sort of a more
So it's
mid-range
like a tempo
piece.
priest, right?
Yeah,
Because the heal is kind of tempo when it's healing for 4 on minions. That's
yeah,
somewhat of a tempo play.
yeah. I think so. So I mean, obviously it's quite early. Let's put it this way: of all the four cards revealed in the video, this is the one that I think is probably like the most underwhelming.
Yeah, it is
Like
important to mention the upgraded hero power as you do there, because obviously you're not going to be building these decks and probably not having Baku or Gen Greymane in the deck, depending on which one you're going for, and so it is important that you do take that into account, because uh, those effects are start of the game as well. These are when you play them. Largely, they're all battle
Yep.
cries, so. It's unlikely you're going to put them in a deck where you have maybe a few even cards and you just try and get the battle cry later, because most of these are very kind of tempo orientated battle cries, that you wouldn't necessarily hold for like some late game value, maybe. So yeah, I mean, it is important to note whether we're talking about the upgraded hero power or the reduced cost hero power in these cases.
For the life of me, I can't. I need to actually open that up because
I'm pretty
I
sure
can't remember
Baku is odd. Baku is odd because Baku's 9 mana, and Baku's the
yeah.
one that upgrades your hero power.
Yeah.
That's kind of the easy way. I just remember Gen is 6 and Baku's 9, and
I
therefore
do
you know
remember
which one is which.
Baku odd upgrade.
Yeah, Baku's odd, and that upgrades, and Gen is even, and that makes it cheaper. Yeah.
Gen even 1. I need to find some way of remembering it.
I don't know. I just know it now. I don't. I'm really bad with those kind of remembering heuristic things. Like anyway, like we're getting off track. Next we have Gloomstag. This is a 5 mana 2/6 with taunt. It is a beast, so that is somewhat relevant. Although getting less relevant in Druid. It is of course a Druid card, as I just mentioned, and it has taunt and battle cry. If your deck has only odd cost cards, gain +2/+2. So the first immediate thing you pointed out when we looked at these cards before we started recording was that only having odd cost cards means no wild growth.
Yeah, no wild growth and no ultimate infestation.
Yeah.
And no swipe.
Yeah, not wild growth, ultimate infestation. I mean, that's like half the reason you play Druid right now. So, once again, we'd have to be looking at a very new Druid archetype, one that is, I would have to say, just very tempo based. Like, you can't even do the Spiteful Druid, which is one of the other Druid like decks because of the restriction there. So it's gonna have to be an entirely new Druid. I mean, we can still get ramp in the form of Greedy Sprite with the Gloomstag, but yeah, I don't really think that's gonna work.
Yeah, it's I mean, like at the end of the day, a 5 mana 4/8 is pretty good stats, I think.
With taunt.
Yeah, with taunt. So, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to ask yourself that payoff could very well be worth it. Especially
and the hero power. I mean, is that relevant? The fact that we're gonna have the upgraded shapeshift.
Yeah, so you get +2 health and it's 2 armor.
2 armor and 2 attack. Yeah.
Which is pretty good, I think.
Sure, but
it's very versatile.
The weirdest thing with that is you also want to probably play Malfurion in the deck most of the time. And that's kind of like Baku only affects your starting hero power.
Oh, right.
And you want to play Malfurion as its odd cost. This is one of the scenarios where you might not play the Baku, right? But there has to really be more payoff for the odd cost, and that's one of the.
That's true,
I look at how a lot of these fit with the Death Knights, and that's kind of the big question I have as well.
Do you want to run it over the Death Knights, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point, Amos. Yeah, it's like you want to play Fandral, but then obviously that hero power.
Oh, Fandrel's rotating anyway.
I mean, not Fandral, I mean Malfurion.
Yeah, Malfurion. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So I mean, yeah, Gloomstag. It's gonna need a lot more support and a lot more payoff for that deck to work. I mean, you still have Nourish, Greedy Sprite for ramp, so it's not impossible to go with a ramp plan. But also you lose some of the taunt plan. What's the Hadronox? Hadronox is not rotating, right?
Hadronox is from Ungoro, I think.
Yeah, okay. So you could play a Hadronox taunt kind of vibe, right? Because Hadronox is 9 mana. But anyway.
How much does that recruit beast do? That's 8 mana.
Yeah, the recruit one is 8, and the astral and that recruits 4 or less cost, which doesn't really work with the odd thing as well.
Yeah,
because you can only hit 3s.
Target's 4, open summons is 4. Yeah,
yeah, it doesn't. The recruit kind of deck doesn't really work at all with the
this
odd
even
cost.
odd's gonna be very interesting if any
if any of the decks work.
If any of the decks are actually viable in any class.
Yeah, and I mean that kind of brings us to the important point with this is. By making this cycle, they're essentially reducing the number of cards in each class in a way, which is a bad thing because it can lead to a lot of the classes becoming similar because the power then rests in the neutral cards. And that can be a bit of an issue, especially now with this set being so crucial, the first one in the new standard year, and the rotation happening, it becomes a bit tricky. So, yeah. That's something I worry about a little bit with these kind of.
It's a similar issue with Reno, right? Is that basically then a lot of the Reno decks end up looking very similar because they're all running cards like Doomsayer, MC Tech, Reno himself, obviously. So
Yeah, like the Reno Kazakas. So, like when the power is in the neutral cards in any given state, a lot of the decks
becomes
can
too
look a little bit
homogenous.
similar. Like with Corridor Creeper, even before the nerf, Corridor Creeper patches, right? A
Yeah.
lot of the decks basically just ran the Pirate package and Corridor Creeper, and like that was pretty ubiquitous.
And Scalebane and Bone Me, right?
Yeah, and Scale Bane and Bone Maze. So I mean, they tried to cut down on that, and now the issue is if they actually just print class cards that are too bad, we might not have an option. But I mean, that's a just a concern at least to keep in mind with these things. I do like the idea, but I'm not 100% sure how the decks are going to work. And once again, with all of these kind of very restrictive deck building things, I think you really need to build the decks. To actually have a look at whether it can work. And when we do have all the cards, we will definitely be doing some proper full reviews with deck lists, looking at least these two archetypes in any of the classes we think that it's relevant for. So moving on, we have Black Cat. So this is a mage card, 3 mana, 3/3 beast. It's a common and it has spell damage +1 and battle cry. If your deck has only odd cost cards, draw a card. So once again, the odd vibe going on here and drawing a card. So basically just replacing itself. Its stats are pretty good. 3 mana, 3/3. It's pretty much what you'd expect most of the time. We don't really have as many 3 mana 3/4s these days. And the spell damage +1, I mean, it can be somewhat relevant,
It's
but
like Blood Mage but better, right?
yeah, but the problem is a lot of the spells that deal damage are even cost.
Yeah, that's obviously
Yeah, Frostbolt, Fireball, even Pyroblast going into the big, Blizzard. Like, there's so many of these spells that are spell damage based that are even cost that it makes me question Black Cat to a certain extent. I mean, it works with a secret plan, kind of, but then you realize, oh, you can't play Arcanologist, and then that doesn't work with a secret plan anymore, so.
yeah, it's gonna
I'm
be
not
very
really,
interesting.
I mean, you can play Kieran Tormage and the Secret still and no Arcanologist, but that just seems to make the deck probably less
Mm.
consistent. You can't play Alaneth, so no real, like, aggressive Secret Mage. I'm just not really sure where the Black Cat fits in. You can't even play it in, like, a big Spell Mage, that like a Spiteful Summoner one, because you can't play Spiteful Summoner. And in a big Spell Mage with, like the control versions that we've looked at, that's kind of the one place where I think maybe it has some kind of game plan. You Frostage Jaina you can still play. You can still play Dragon's Fury. You can still play Flame Strike. You can still play the Secrets. We're gonna need to see some other clear because you can't play Blizzard. You can still play Frost Nova, but no Doomsayer. So
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, that's the thing with, with the odd one specifically is obviously, any deck that wants it, you can't run Doomsayer. So, like, if you want to run control, you have to then think about carefully what resources you do have available to you, right?
yeah. Yeah. Okay. Lastly, we have Merspark Eel. Merspark Eel, 2 mana, 2/3 beast. This is a shaman. And it's a rare. It has Battle Cry. If your deck has only even cost cards, deal 2 damage. So even cost now, this is the cheaper hero power. So important to keep that in mind with Ken and Greymane. And Merspark Eel, I mean, the effect here is really powerful, right? Deal 2 damage. And on a 2 mana 2/3, that's a pretty powerful effect.
I mean, that's Valet, right?
Yeah, I suppose.
That's pretty much Valet without the condition.
Without the condition of having to have the secret
I
up,
mean,
yeah.
well, no, okay, this is 2 damage, not
Yeah,
3.
it's a little bit weaker than Valet, but if you give and take the fact that it's easier to achieve the condition because it's done at deck building stage, versus like that one damage being slightly less, yeah.
Yeah, this is immediately sort of a more aggressive tempo-y deck. So whether Evolve Shaman still is a deck, or similar to a mid-range Shaman that we had back in the day.
Yeah.
But the problem with it is
I don't know where they're
you don't have
going. I
one
mean,
drop, right?
yeah,
The one drop is your hero power, basically, right?
yeah. I mean, you do have a one drop in the form of your hero power. That's the one thing I like about the even rotation or the even deck building constraint is that it just basically forces you to.
Play one less and then hero power.
Yeah, well, okay, by giving you the reduced cost hero power, it allows you to more evenly smooth out your curve because of the cheap hero power fits in perfectly. On every odd turn, you just play the hero power plus an even card. and it kind of
Yeah,
works
but it
out. It
just means
works
your
out more
curve is a
smoothly
little
like
bit
that.
weaker in terms of you going
Yes.
two drop hero power,
Yes.
four drop hero power.
Yeah,
You know,
but this is where
that's the weakness,
this is
right?
where cards like Merspark Eel can help make up for that. Because
Yeah,
Merspark
exactly.
Eel, it is an immediate tempo. So even if you're playing this on turn 3, it's still pretty powerful. So, yeah, that kind of works. And Shaman, a lot of their even cards are quite powerful. I mean, Flame Tongue Totem for one. In a deck where you're hero powering a lot, Flame Tongue Totem is
Oh, how
exceptional.
much is that flame? Oh, but
And
that
Primal
one
Flame
that gives
Totem?
you that's a that's a 5 drop. The one that if you had one of each totem.
Oh, yeah, it's a 5 mana 5/5.
Yeah, I was
Yeah,
gonna
that
say.
doesn't really work with this deck, unfortunately.
Yeah, 'cause I was gonna say if you can get a lot of hero powers, that might be good. But then I was
But
like,
wouldn't
okay,
that be better with the upgraded hero power anyway? Because you get. Wait, how does the upgraded hero power work for Shaman again? You
you
get
can
to choose.
choose. You can
Yeah,
choose which one you want.
yeah. So I mean, maybe it works better with that anyway. I don't know.
Yeah,
Because
maybe.
like if you Spirit Echo, is that going away? I forget. Spirit Echo
But
getting
it's an
rid of.
odd card, though.
Oh, that's true.
It costs 3 mana.
Hmm.
I'm not sure what set's from.
I'm trying to think of like a way you can get them in your hand and then you can choose the
I,
right one and then
I
play
mean,
them or something. I don't
to
know.
be very honest, it has made it more interesting because before I would never really pay attention to whether it's even or odd,
Yeah.
whereas now this is becoming a major like discussion point, right?
Yeah.
You've got to go. Okay, is it? Oh, by the way, Spirit Echoes from Ungoro, so it's still in standard.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I mean, it is definitely an interesting cycle that they're going with, and I mean, Merspark Eel is the one that kind of sticks out to me as the most powerful because of how, um, you know, like aggressive a tempo play it is. Let's say Glittermoth can be a massive tempo swing. Gloomstag's just good stats. Black Cat is kind of a more of a value play in a way. Uh,
Yeah,
and Merspark Eel is the most immediate kind of removing something and developing something is one of the strongest kind of tempo plays you can make in Hearthstone. And that's kind of why I like the Merspark Eel.
yeah. I mean it's that whole swing, right?
Yeah.
I mean it's gonna be quite a valuable tool mainly against aggro, right?
Yeah,
I
yeah, yeah.
mean being able to kill their early drop and develop a 2/3, which is a 2 mana 2/3 is pretty decent.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, Merspark Eel seems pretty good. But yeah, I mean, this is just going to be, well, this is just a short video looking at these 4 cards that kind of surprised us today. I mean, this is all we really have. We're going to have to definitely see more how this cycle goes. Definitely looking forward to seeing the rest of the cards in this cycle. So once again, thanks a lot for watching the video. And we'll keep them up to date. Keep up to date with all of our videos by just subscribing to the YouTube channel. So yeah, thanks a lot. And any final thoughts on this rotation before we sign off for this video?
Ooh, I'm a bit no. I'm very cool. Like what's the word? Apprehensive about this whole even only odd only thing.
Yeah.
I'm very worried about where it might end. Right?
Yeah, I think the biggest issue is how it kind of removes the class cards from the set. So we'll see if they maybe make up for that by maybe even printing more class cards. So yeah, definitely going to be interesting to see where it goes. But once again, that's all we have for this video. We'll be keeping you up to date, so make sure you follow along. Thanks.